Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. All right, I try to do a couple spiritual shows in between the UFO shows, and I usually do that on Tuesday, my UFO show. But I'm on the internet at least 12, 14 hours day and night, and I listen to every UFO special, talk, or interview, or any of those things relating to that. All I hear is the same old stuff. Let's talk about a UFO and that they're real. The government's been hiding it, and they're doing things and stuff like that. But, in the past 20 years, which was active years in the UFO world, very little truth came out. Sergio 18 and I started in 1996. We traveled all around the United States lecturing for global sciences. And I met just about every speaker out there. Some I became friends with, many other people I had friends with before I started lecturing. I started working in the UFO world when I was about 14, 15. I had my first experience when I was 6. So my world is real, people. Not a dream world. I had a witness with me when I saw my first alien in my house, and I could go on. But that's not what I'm more concerned about. I'm more concerned about what people out there want to hear, want to know. How much of the truth do they want to know, or they just want to hear what they've been programmed to hear? Which is a bunch of lies about what UFOs are doing and what the government's doing, or what they're not doing. All right, I mean, all you're going to hear over and over, and I'm sick and tired of hearing it. Well, if they wanted to kill us, they would. Wanting to kill us, if they would. Mr. Putin said 2 races want to destroy the planet. And how would he know that? But again, if they wanted to kill us, of course they could have. But do they want to? Why would they want to? They're here for a reason, people. Not to be friends with us, to say hi, or to teach us about God, spirit, death. They're here for one reason. All life has one agenda to live by, and that's to eat. Second agenda is to be safe and comfortable wherever that is. And third is to play the game of life. All right. Most people think playing the game of life is important, which I will get into on my spiritual shows, how unimportant it really is, what we really learn, what we think we learn, who we think we are, what we think we are. All right. Everything from God to being one with God, and you name it, or no God. But sadly, the UFO world has always been here as well, people. It was here before Jesus, and it's going to be here after Jesus. It's going to be here forever. All right. Now, if we go back in time to when the aliens first came here, who knows what was on the planet? I wasn't here in that time frame. I was here during Atlantis. I could tell you what went on after that, when there were 9 races living on this planet. But before that, the giants and the different races and all that came and went. Why? Science wants to talk about pyramids and things like that. So what? They can't help us. They're not going to teach us anything important about aliens. Even though there's one person, I'm not going to say his name, I'm not going to promote him, says they're in the pyramid and they got these machines that tell you what race you're from and all those kind of things and all this stuff about aliens. But again, prove it. Prove it in this reality, in our world, where we live. All right? It's not easy to do at any level. It's hard to prove that UFOs are real. But then again, how much proof does a person need to know that they're real? Go outside and see one. I had somebody that asked me, they wanted my book, but they never got back to me again. It's hawksblood1aol.com. If you send me a link, I'll send you my book, How to See a UFO. It's easy, if that's what you want to do. If you want to take your first step in the UFO world, fine. Why? There's nothing positive happening in it. Nothing positive is going to happen when it gets exposed in detail, which isn't going to come easy, not by our government and not by people. Main purpose of doing the show today is I'm so sick and tired of hearing the lies, the stories, and this is, I think it's this, and I think it's that, and I think what? Who cares what anybody thinks? And who cares what science say? Because they don't know either. They cannot tell you when the human race was brought here. They cannot. And we weren't hatched here. We didn't come by cells flying down from the universe and hitting this planet and turning into humans. They just kind of said they released that information saying that's how the world got pollinated, is the way I would word it. Another story. It's been going on for billions of years. And why is it the human race has only been around maybe what? Less than 100,000 years total? I'm not talking about the cavemen and all those other kind of beings that were here that came and went. All right. And we go further back, the giants. And so what? They're not here now, are they? We've got a few skeletons around and things like that. But is that important for any reason? Now, I just recently joined Richard Dolan's site. I listened to, there's some good information on there. That's the only reason why I joined it. But I get to put my stuff up on there as well. I'm not knowing if it's coming out or not, because I send a couple things out and it says, whatever, already sent it. I just wrote it. How could I already sent it? So I wrote him a couple letters, but so I don't know how many games are going on the site, how much of my stuff actually gets put up. Again, I don't go anywhere without telling the truth. I'm not a storyteller. I don't make up stories. I don't tell other people stories that I know that don't know are real. Look, I'll show you this right here. See that? Can you read it? It said the Air Force Base. Can you read that? Edwards Air Force Base encounter. I got the original recording. My friend recorded it up inside the tower. All right. It took an hour to get 2 jets out there where the ships, UFOs were for an hour. But again, people, it's not about proving ships anymore. Does anybody understand that? I got a book. I send it out for free. Email me. I'll send you the book. Now, basically, you want to see a UFO. If the UFO is real, easy. Then what? Now, what do you do with that information? Oh, UFOs are real. Now, well, how do we know they're not a satellite, a drone, or this or that? You don't. But in general, if you look at anything, you'll know whether it's a ship or not. All right, by the brightness, by the speed, by how far away it is, and things like that. Drones can't go that far into space, just so you know. I'm not talking about government drones. I'm talking about drones people use. If you overlook somebody's drone or this, that, when it comes down. The picture I put up there, I shot. That ship was right next to me. All right, it was small. Size doesn't matter to these things either, people. We assume that everything has to be equal in size. Well, if an atom and a proton and a neutron were big or little, how big or little do we know they really are based on our size? But they could be the size of a universe or they could be the size of an ant colony. All right, but we don't know how to relate it to other sizes. So when an alien comes here, how big do they have to be? Our size? Why? Why do you think pyramids and everything else was built for giant people? How big do giants have to be considered a giant? I don't want to get into all that. I'm dealing with right now, what's happening in the UFO world is not very good. We have too many people talking about ships. Oh, they're ships. They're not ships. They're real ships. They're not ships. Lou Elizondo comes out and talks about a Tic Tac. Well, sorry, people. That was only like, what, a year ago. I was involved with shooting UFOs from 96. We were lecturing around the United States and 2 different places every year for global sciences. And we had the best pictures of UFOs than anybody else in the United States. People weren't really ready for the ultimate truth or any truth. All right. They in the UFO world, when you went to any, they believed in aliens, they believed in ships, but well, they're not here yet. Or then they get the people, oh, they're here, they're walking among us, they're doing things, they're this, that, and the other thing. Well, guess what, people? They're not human if they're not human. If they're drones, clones, or whatever you want to call them, they're not going to make this world better. Please don't even accept that idea. And I could say people like Corey Good, right? What he claims, Caroline Corey, what she claims. She put out 2 movies. Watch them. Makes everything sound good. Nothing's good, people. She's a person that claims she could levitate. She can change people's DNA. They put her hands over it. I went through this a while ago. I said, the medicine woman I studied with worked for the government doing testing. And we used to do this prayer and pray over the things and have it measured. It changes the energy of it. So what? Does that mean you're a miracle worker or you're a super being or anything close to it? No. Energy of this world's changeable in this reality. You can't change it to fit in a different reality. Can't take this body into the next realm. It won't go there. Or the realm after that, or the realm after that. No, it won't go there. It can't. All right. So now these speakers that I just listened to are talking about, well, this is real and this is important. And they're saying, well, this video, they're going to say somebody put out false information, which is obvious. Most of them do. Most of them exaggerated the stories. Most of them do. Because they don't know the story. But they put their own emphasis on everything. Well, he just came through the window and he grabbed. And like they're so excited like it really happened to them. But it didn't. And the people that did have very little knowledge of what's really going on as well. Travis Walton did his movie. He hates it. He wants to do it over. But then you got the alien hunter who tells all these great stories and stuff. Nothing important's coming out. People have been abducted over and over, and they are greatly. They've been implanted over and over. But is it helping anyone right now? What the government's going to release, is it going to help us? Of course not. They're not going to release the truth because I don't think they know half of the truth. I mean, they know ships are real. They know aliens are real. They work with aliens and stuff like that. But the real reason, if you listen to a real alien, or not, I can say alien autopsy, alien interrogation, listen to it. It's real. It was a real alien they interviewed. Check it out online. I think it's in 3 segments. It's real, people. But it's an alien telling his viewpoint, only his viewpoint, what he thinks he knows. When somebody talks, they can only talk about what they think is true and real. Did they experience it? What are they experiencing? I could go into that in great detail, but I'm not going to do it today. But this is for people today that want to see a UFO. It's easy. And once you see it, will it change the way you think about them? Are they real because you saw one? Just because you didn't see one, does that make it not real? Did you see God? Did you see angels? Did you see deities? Did you see demons? How do you know any of that's real? Did you see it? And if you did, were you doing drugs? Were you smoking? Were you sleeping? Where were you? Were there witnesses with you when you saw it? All those little things that can help you prove to yourself. I don't care what happens to other people. This is all about yourself. You're here by yourself. You leave by yourself. What you get and don't get is up to you. Nobody else. And there are very few souls out there willing to give you what you need to become that. Not become your higher self and getting everything you want in life and all. They're not spiritual wording. They have nothing to do with it. All right, I'm just trying to see if somebody texted me. I think somebody did, but I will find out. Let me see if I can put this on her site real fast. All right, but here's the thing, people. Let me get rid of that. Our time's changing. And let me just pull this up and tell you. It's been today. It's not that bad today, even though there's a lot of earthquakes. But the biggest one is 5.5 in Ecuador. All right. But over the past week, there have been multiple giant earthquakes everywhere in large numbers. Anywhere from 5 to 9 earthquakes in one day over 5.0. Recently we had a 7.2. So that's not normal. And it hasn't been happening for the past 20 years. The past, I'd say, 5 years, it started growing and growing and becoming greater and greater and higher numbers over 5.0. What's that about? Why are they using directed energy weapons on the United States? What's that about? Do you know anything about the HARP system? I'm sure you don't. All these little things that are affecting everything that we're doing right now. Nobody's talking about the real problems or what's causing the weather problems that we're having. All right. And it's causing serious things to the world right now. It's going to affect our food. It's going to affect our air. It's going to affect everything about what's going on here. Are you prepared for that? Do you understand why it's going to happen? What's really happening? Do you understand the involvement of aliens, UFOs, government ships, planes, rockets, chemtrails, and all the other words that all fit together? You need to realize that our time's changing greatly. And I'll bring this word in, UN Agenda 21-30. 193 countries agreed on that, people. It's one world order. How they're going to get there and what's going to happen when we get there. We're in stage 4 already. And that has to do with the viruses, vaccines, and everything else right now. But it's not going to get better anytime soon. You need to watch it, because as it gets worse, what are you going to do to prepare for it? Well, I'm in a different state than most people. I would be happy to leave this world to go to the next higher realm where I'm going to be going. All right? There's many realms to go to. But if you don't do certain things here, you can't get past the astral plane. And if you get there, you'll probably come back here in a certain amount of time. Now, where do aliens fit into that? They're not spiritually aware as the human race is. That's one of the things they are watching about us. Oh, man. So, what I'm saying is, how do you know anything about that? Hold on, my machine's cracking up. Give me 1 second. Oh, man. I'm just trying to print out something and it's getting screwed up. But we need to think about what's going down right now, what's happening around the world, what effects it's going to have on us. Where do aliens fit in? Are they going to fit in? Well, they always fit in. Just because they don't say, hi, everybody, we're here, doesn't mean they're here or not here. But if you watch the events of what's going on in the sky and listen to stories of other countries, you'll find the truth. Not that the good aliens are crossbreeding with us and all that kind of stuff, because they're not. Not in a good way. Not anything we need to know. So here, let's get getting into beards all the time. Why is that? So when we start with what are we doing today, this is screwing up everything. So when I talk about the present moment, what we're doing, what we're getting involved with, we're sending another rocket up to the moon and do our stuff up there. We did that. We played that game. What did we accomplish? Nothing that we know about. I know they sent a rocket up there. They were going to blow up a bomb inside the hole that they found. And the second they got close to it, they shut all cameras down on TV and nobody saw what really happened. So, every time we get close to the truth or we think we're going to see it, we'll get a piece of it and not the important part of it. So when people say, well, I believe, you believe in what? Did you ever see a UFO? There's people that are speaking in the UFO world that are getting paid $15,000, $20,000 to speak for a weekend, 2 hours. What do they know? You watch Ancient Aliens? What do they put out there that's different than what they showed 5 years ago? Anything important? Well, we got more people involved. We got people talk. Talk is Native elders said talk is talk unless it adds up to something, and it usually doesn't. All the things that happened. I don't know if you're familiar with the one that went up on. I don't want to get, but a whole bunch of people were hiking up a mountain, and then they all got chopped up, missing, and all kinds of things. They have no clue whether it was aliens, a terrorist group of people, but the events and the situation make it seem totally unreal no matter what went down. But there's stories that are much more important than Roswell, Area 51, talking about those things now. Somebody just came out and showed a picture of a real UFO inside the base. He said, I'm going to show you a picture of a ship inside Area 51, and he did. So I don't know if it's still up. I think they took it down within a day. But people, does that matter? I keep telling people, what do you think is going to be important in the UFO world? Well, what they're going to give us. They're not going to give us anything important. They're not going to give us anything good. The things that they have are good, they're not giving us. Now, the most important thing, group of beings, of people together, whatever you want to call them all, is MJ12. Not just majestic, MJ12. Okay, now it's MJ32. But those beings, people, are the ones that control everything that happens and it gets exposed in the UFO world, good, bad, or indifferent. And they expose very little. They take out anybody or remove, whatever words you want to use, make disappear of anybody that's going to tell the truth. So am I telling the truth? Why am I still on? Because in 1996, Sergeant 18 and I released, we had at least 2,000 pictures, and we showed them over the next couple of years, all the pictures we shot of different kinds of ships and everything else. Can't take it back. It's already out there, and it's been out there. But he kind of disappeared recently. I don't know if he got paid off, disappeared. I know he came into a lot of money. We had a big dispute, and then I never heard from him again. He warned me not ever to call him or talk to him. He always said years ago, if he ever was offered a lot of money, he would take it. Now, let's get into that other person out there claiming, and this is the most ridiculous statement you ever want to hear, Mr. Stephen Greer, supposedly the head of the UFO's disclosure group, said he was offered, why am I not in the middle? $2 billion to walk away from the UFO world. All right. Now, if somebody offered you $2 billion, no matter what the reason was, would you turn it down? What would be the reason for not turning it down? Well, we're going to kill your mother if you don't give us $2 billion. I mean, what would be the reason to turn down $2 billion if you had it? What could you do with it? Just about anything possible or even impossible. So what? My camera's still cockeyed. So why would you turn it down? Here's a solution. If somebody offered me $2 billion right now to stop talking about UFOs, I'd take it. Why not? And I know more about the UFO world than 99% of the UFO people in it, talking and taking money for saying whatever they're going to say. All right. What would I do with that $2 billion? Pay 100 people to get involved, to create, to do what I want them to do, and give them the money to do it. But no, if I have to have my name, Mr. Hawksblood, actually disclosure and blah, 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 that's an ego trip. But an ego trip over $2 billion is, I would say it'd have to be the biggest ego in the universe. To think you're that important, and now that he's got tons of money wherever it came from, everybody sent him millions of dollars, he's going to be building a center for UFO people to go, and he's going to open up workshop classes to teach people how to talk to aliens. Imagine talking to aliens. What would it do for you? Well, I talked to an alien. And what did he say? I'm going to eat you. I'm not going to eat you. I'll let you live. What do you think you could say that would be important? We're going to help you. Really help us what? Show us. Do something for us. Prove your truth. Hold on one second. I got a problem going on out there. I hear it, but hopefully it doesn't come this way. What are you going to do? What could they tell you that make you happy? We're going to give you a space house to live in and a bunch of spaceships to get around in. Would that be beneficial? I doubt it. In your mind right now, saying we're going to take you on a trip through the universe, which some people are saying now, did that help you? Did it make you feel good? People weren't willing to spend millions of dollars to get on a plane to go up into space for 10 minutes. Why? Because of ego. Rich people willing to spend that kind of money to get a cheap thrill. Imagine how many children you could save, how many people could be fed, or all those kind of things. You could build a home for abused women. You could do incredible things that would be much more beneficial to this world, to our country. So why are you playing the game? Because they're making money. Money talks, everything else walks. You heard that story. But money isn't going to help you get spiritual. It's not going to help you understand what the UFO world is really about. They get paid tons of money to tell you more stories. What was the last important story you heard about aliens? Everything's going good so far. How are they going to help us, people? I've been around them. I've been dealing with that all my life. Sure, there's people who say, "Well, I had a great experience with them." Do you know it's called programming? They never did anything important for this planet. So why would they take you up into space and do something important for you, which you can't prove or do anything with or help mankind? I'll tell you this. I was friends with one person from MJ12. I'd say 24 years ago. All right. He was going to give us honey, all right, which can cure any disease on this planet. And what's that mean? Guess what? He disappeared, died, disappeared, and all that. So, watch the original last, or I should say, the first movie of the movies that X Files did. Not the last one because that was horrible, ridiculous, but the first one. All right, which was the most important show ever about UFOs from X Files. I mean, the whole story that led up to this movie and what went down. Check out the Beehive. Check out what's happening and what the whole movie is about. All right. Realize that X Files was based on actual stories. I got to get up and let the little guy in. Hold on 1 second. Somebody want to leave me alone? Come on. Thank you, Mr. Gizzo. Sorry about that. But he'll be barking the rest of the night if I don't let him in. Or day. So, here, I've been in this since I was basically 6 years old. Got involved with working with people when I was 16, 17. I was doing hypnosis. At that time, I wasn't going to a hypnosis class or anything like that. I worked with Kreskin. I met him when I was 12. I met with him twice. I learned hypnosis. I started doing it. Then at 16, I met an army hypnotist, and he started teaching me. I was doing magic, stage magic, and I was teaching him some tricks so he could work with children. Right, to hypnotize children, you have to have a different way to work at it than you do with adults. You have to keep children focused or they'll never get hypnotized. But that's besides the point. Then I went into past life regression. I was the first person to do it. Sorry, people. I know I'm not going to say her name, but she claimed to do it years ago. I said, check out the date. I was doing it when I was 17. I made cards up and I came up with the name and all that. And then years later, I guess it was about 9 years later when she started teaching it and doing it and all that. But she died 2 years ago. People, this is about what's really happening right now. What aliens are doing, which is not in any of the stories or the things you hear. It's always about what the government's doing. We don't need to know what the government's doing. They're not helping people. They're not going to help us anytime soon. Do you understand that? Okay, are they stopping people from getting abducted? Of course not. They don't know who, where, when, or how. Are they stopping cows from getting mutilated? Of course not. So anything that the aliens are doing, they can't stop it. So their help is kind of useless right now for the human race. And it hasn't been beneficial, except the United States government, which they don't talk about either, had a couple major wars with aliens. 2 on planet Earth and 2 that I know in space directly. I saw one. All right. Now, on planet Earth, pull up Phil Schneider's story. Listen to it. Read it. It's the second most important UFO story out there. And I'm not going to get into what one was because it's much more important than that because it's still active and what it created is affecting the planet right now. But again, people, are you listening to what those people out there are saying? All right. Are you really? Do you hear the conversations that, well, we're talking to the aliens and you need to talk to aliens. But Stephen Greer, I get blocked. I lose my sites. I lose different things. But he goes on saying, we don't need a government. We just need to talk to aliens. I think that would be kind of like anti-terrorist group. trying to start a new way of life, really, dealing with aliens. What do you think they can tell us that could help us? If the belief in God is not good enough for the mankind, what do you think would be better? Belief in an alien? That we went through that in history. The Egyptians followed aliens and they learned nothing. They're not here now, are they? They built pyramids, and the way they did reincarnation and set up for reincarnation was evil and ignorant. The way they cremated bodies and all that wasn't beneficial. No soul could come back into those bodies that they did a number on. So the history that they were given was wrong. And I'm going to tell you this, and very few souls, I don't think anybody else truly knows that Einstein worked with an alien race. But he was fed false information. Seriously. Okay, some of his stuff are lies that he doesn't even know, that man accepts because, he was the smartest man. He wasn't smartest man. There's no smartest man on the planet. Tesla wasn't a college graduate prone to be the smartest person on the planet, to come up with 200 inventions. Really? Wow, his teacher must have been really good. But again, he worked with an alien race too as well. But the one that Einstein worked with, I think, was playing with the human race. The ones that Tesla worked with were helping destroy the human race. All the weapons Tesla created are the most dangerous weapons on the planet. Why would they want to do that? Now, something that might not be considered a weapon, I talked to one lady that claims to be the top psychic on the planet, said that time travel is a good thing. No, it's not, people. Not if you're really doing it. If you're dreaming you're doing it, it's one thing, but if you're really going back in time, anything you slip up and do during that time frame can change history. Good or bad, but it will change it. If you change history, it's bad, because history is supposed to be what it is as it moves forward. Our timeline. Kill somebody there, you take away families that should have been here now. All right. I talked to this lady. Oh, it's good. I said, how could it be good? What they did when they actually went back in time, which was during the Philadelphia experiment, they killed somebody. I was friends with Nick Albiolic. All right, he was offered $4 million then, which was in '97, to go back in time to rearrange certain things. Really? And he changed age when I saw him the next time. He was actually maybe 20 years younger. At least he looked it. So I'm not going to get into that. But the facts are that if you knew the person, knew what was happening, and saw the things that could happen. Now, I'm just going to get into it very shortly. The most important UFO story inside the United States had to do with the Montauk Project. Not the part on Long Island where they were taking children and playing with their brains and all that kind of stuff. The part that UFOs landed in Wanacue, New Jersey. Tesla was working with them. The government was stationed around a reservoir that they flooded a city in. And the ships were going in and out of that reservoir for 9 months. That's the story, people, and it's a real story. My friend who I did all my UFO stuff with, Sergeant 18, lived right there. The whole time. We went on that property for years, hours at a time, every other night, filming everything you could imagine. And remember, size is not the same when aliens come here, orbs come here, and different things come here. I mean, we heard it, Greg, when we got its footprint. We heard it scream. We saw it where it landed. We didn't actually see it, but it was screaming so loud it was almost blasting out our eardrums. But I have the video I put up, the picture that you see on the beginning of the show. That was a little ship came right in front of me. And then after that, I couldn't put the other picture up. These orbs came chasing this other light across, right where that went across in front of me. And we heard something running down the river. We couldn't see it either. So, when you're out of time or in a different dimension, come in here, obviously you can't see them. But I would say out of time with us. If you can hear them but can't see them, they're in this dimension at some level. I don't want to deal with that too much. But basically, all the stuff I went through, being next to an alien, being next to a ship, watching a ship come in and chasing it away. Don't ask me how, why, or whatever. But those things working with abductees for many years, watching women come to me and showing me their proof that they were pregnant and they never had the child and all those kind of things. It's not what good things they're doing, people. It's what bad things they're doing, and the government cannot protect you from. Recently, I'm bad with names. If I don't find a paper, I'm going to be able to tell you his name. I'm not going to find a paper. One more chance. No, I don't have the paper in front of me. If this isn't it, I don't think it is. Maybe it is. Hold on. Give me one more second. Nope, not it. A person that is a high college teacher, got his degrees and everything, and the government went to him with 100 abductee stories, pictures and info, phone numbers, and all that. And he spent time researching them. He works on cancer and DNA and all that. So he came up with 80% have some kind of syndrome, UFO people, and the other 20% are really abducted people. How he came up with that conclusion is, I use the word delusional a lot, but it wasn't real, because it's a lot more than that. Even when Bud Hopkins came out and started creating MUFON, saying, how do you determine if a person's crazy? How do you? And what's the definition of crazy? I can go on about that. All right. I say I'm crazy, go insane. Rather be go insane than going crazy. But the definition, what's it mean to you? So when he came and said, well, these people are crazy with their story, after he never saw a UFO, he never saw an alien, so he could not know the effects, only by what other people say. All right. My first experience, I was 6 years old. My second one, I was 12. But did it affect me in a bad way? No, I was always in power over it. I had faith in myself and God. That's it. That's all you need. All right. When my friend and I chased an alien out of the house with baseball bats, and then we saw the ship take off. All right. It was two of us. And then my mother asked us all kinds of questions to see if we were making it up. But the truth is, nobody wants the truth. And now we got that ridiculous word called experiencer, which people want to claim they are, saying that it's going to be a good experience and they're good aliens and they're going to help us. Help us what? Build more weapons, more spaceships? For what reason? To leave planet Earth? We're destroying planet Earth. So guess what? Maybe we're going to be forced to leave, and they know that. But that's not all of us. It's only going to be a small percentage, and it will only be the rich. The underground cities are for the rich only, people. Do you even care? Do you understand how big the cities are underground? Jesse Ventura exposed that many years ago, and then they took his show off the TV. But people, it's much more real than you want to imagine, think, or even get involved with, because basically when you know the truth, it's hard to turn your cheek or look the other way. If you know aliens are here for one reason, you start thinking about, well, how can I change it? How can I stop it? Well, I use another word people don't like: hell. We're in hell, people. And it's easy to explain why. Soul, which is what you are inside this body that you're walking around in, is truly what you are. When your body dies, that leaves this body. It's just like stepping in and out of a car. When you're in your car, are you the car? Kind of. When you step out of it, are you the car? No, you're not. Not anything even close to it. So when you're in the vehicle you're using, whatever vibration level you are at, the astral, physical, mental, whatever plane you're in, that's the body you're using. So most people are in their body thinking that's them as well. It's not. Your body can only live 125 years no matter what you do, feed it, or however you take care of it. But is that going to help you in any way? When you start getting older, which I realize today and every other day, getting old is not a beneficial thing to your mind or your body. And when it changes, your ability to do things changes and usually becomes less. And then again, if you think staying healthy and living here longer, like certain multi-billionaires, we'll have a few that are going to try to make us live, or at least keep his family here for 150 years and things like that. Why? What's so beneficial about being here? Because you never experienced anything beyond this level. So when people say aliens are important and they're going to help us, they're not going to help us, people. Never did. Look at the reality of the world. The native people said they work with star beings. Star beings, the gray people. All right, gray aliens. Did they ever get help from them? No. There was 50 million native people 400 years ago. They all got wiped out. There's less than 3/4 of a million left today. So were those grays helping them in any way? Of course not. They say Bigfoot was helping them. Sorry, people, these creatures do not help us as well as aliens do not. You believe what you want. Tell yourself whatever you want to believe. But is it real? And is it really important? It's important to know what's going to happen when you die. It's important to know God. It's important to know a lot of things. But if you focus on aliens helping you understand and become anything greater than what you think you are right now, it's delusional. How can you? What do you think could happen that would make that beneficial for you? Tell you how good they are and what they can do for us. What can they do for us? Build us a better weapon. We don't have enough that could destroy the planet. We need more, right? Really. The United States is testing directed energy weapons on the United States. And they can shoot these beams from whatever direction they want. Why would they do that? Well, when you have wars above ground, it would be a great weapon. So, are they supposed to tell the world what kind of weapons they're playing with and what they're doing with them? Is that important to people? We're going to have war with Russia or China. Are we going to send them a letter, fax paper? Well, we have this weapon. It does this. I'm going to hit you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Is that a brilliant statement? Is that what we would do, really? Is that what you would want to do? Well, I want to know what they're going to shoot them with. Really? Why? So you could protest it? War is the worst thing we can do. Killing is something that soul can't do, but it does. But it pays the consequences. So when we talk about these things, people, are you listening to what these people say? Spend a week. Go on to the UFO world, type UFOs and speakers, and listen to some of these people talk. Sure, one or two people come out with the dangers of what's happening, what could happen. It's not what could happen. It's what's going to happen. It's set, people. Like when you die, it's already set. Oh, well, I can change it. No, you can't. What's going to happen in your life? You're going to change it. No, you can't. Well, I'm going to be my higher self and I'll make it the way I want. No, you won't. And because you change something doesn't mean it's the way you wanted it. You're only allowed what you're allowed to do based on your karma that you created or didn't create. Aliens have nothing to do with that. You can make it part of your reality. Start looking for aliens, trying to communicate with them, trying to bring them down. It's like playing with the Ouija board, people. What happened? Now, we're talking about a little piece of wood with a little piece of plastic or glass or wood thing moving around on that. What it can do to reality. What it can do to your world. So imagine, well, let's bring aliens and talk to them. What are they going to tell us? What can they do for us? Nothing beneficial to the human race. Now, I challenge people daily. Not one person has the balls to come back and debate me about God, religion, death, demons, aliens. All right, they're all real. What are they really doing? I don't meet people that really understand. The programming is easy. They program most of the people they deal with. You think everybody goes up in a ship, has a good time? Oh, it was an experience. Yeah, it was an experience. Good one. Why is it a good one? Well, they showed me things that aren't possible for them to see, not in that physical body. All right? Your body is not capable of doing a lot of the things. And then people that do are radioactive. They don't talk about that either. They don't talk about anything pertaining to the truth about it. But the biggest thing that they're exposing to you is a tic tac. I'd like to show you all my pictures right now, but I can't because they're all copyrighted by Sergeant 18. I don't even know if he's alive right now. All right. We always had disputes, and it would last about 8 years. So maybe another 8 years, he might come back out. Uh, I say he runs and hides. I know he doesn't like a lot of things I say, but I don't like a lot of things he says. So one of the biggest things that were the problem between us that I really didn't get into in detail was he blew smoke in the air and then took pictures of that and claims that all these things he filmed were real. He says that the energy sticks to them. Okay, he took a picture of the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, you name it, Jesus. Really? I said the Easter Bunny. Did you hear me say that? Okay. Santa Claus, did you hear that? Oh, yes. Okay. So guess what? It's images of mental ideas coming from somewhere, but doesn't make it real. If something's not real just because you could see it in your own delusional mind, or if you create an image and make it into that image, there was a magic trick by a great magician years ago. Go on stage and you get 10 people to say where they want to see and name it, and he'd blink his eyes in front of a camera and that picture would come out of the camera. This was many years ago, so it wasn't all this high tech that they use in the magic world now. But I have a friend also who went out to James Gillen's ranch, shot 3 pictures, which James Gillen says his student took. It wasn't his student, it was his teacher. James Gillen was not a spiritual being until he met with this person, and now he claims to be one. But this person he met was an incredible being. He was in my class with Max Christopher in Kunlun, and he was the second head teacher to Max himself. But if he put his hand on you, he would send lightning bolts through you. It was incredible. He started off a wrestler in Japan and came to the United States. But again, when he went out to James Gillen Ranch with Max and Richard, another friend of mine, there was a major battle. One of Max's students stayed there and started working with James Gillen, teaching him some techniques and all that. And then James Gillen went around doing healing techniques and blah, blah, blah. But it all has nothing to do with aliens, has nothing to do with the truth. All right? There's nobody. Well, mass murderers happen in every level of life. Suicide happens at every level of life. Depression's happening in everybody. How many people on this planet smoke, do drugs, just to get away from the reality that they're in? Too many. And the government knows that. But they want more people to die. So that's why they kept liquor as the main thing. Where marijuana doesn't kill people. It does not kill people. Anybody out there, any scientist, you should be stuck in a room and smoke until you do die and see how long it takes. All right, which would never happen. So again, people, science is trying to prove ridiculous lies instead of proving the truth. 99% of the people that smoke get relaxed. Many of them get health benefits and all that from pain, and you name it. Not like beer, wine, vodka, whiskey, coke, heroin, all the other things. Where are we going, people? You think aliens are going to help us with that? You think they care? They never stopped it. When we go to war, when we have a war, when we have people dying right now, are they helping? Why not? They have the technology to stop it. You see the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still, the original one? Well, you better believe they have technology way farther than that. And that was shown what? In 1953, that movie came out. But it's a real idea. And basically, if they did come here, they could do that and say that and have the ability to do whatever that is. All right. There's different alien races here. That, I'll tell you, is real. Are there good ones here? If they're a good race, people, they can't do much because of the bad races that are here. It's like saying, could we walk in Russia and give everybody lollipops and tell them to love each other? Of course not. It's under control by a Russian government. Can somebody walk into the United States and do it? No, we're controlled by the United States government. Every country is controlled by government people that are controlling people. So where do you want to go with this, people? Do you want to go into the truth? Or do you want to go into lies? Aliens are real. There's 9 races here. I mean, I'm sure there's multiple. Putin says there's 27 races. A friend of mine who worked with TJ, her husband said he worked with 27 alien races. Matter of fact, he said more. I think he said 48 or 49. Anne Hayes, she died recently. She said she worked with 128 races. I listen to these people, but which one of them is good or good enough to overpower a bad person? Now, look at it this way. If you believe in Jesus, whether you believe in him or not, the idea of him being a spiritual person, a loving person. Could he kill somebody? He had the ability to. He had 32 psychic abilities, which he never used half of them. I know, because when I was 16, I was a high priest. I had about 28 abilities, and I learned to work with each one of them as I learned each one's not usable in this reality for anything good. If you stop one action, you allow multiple other actions to happen. I'm going to stop a train crash, but you'll stop and create other things that will happen. The events that happen will happen. Now, realize, even Notre Dame, when he made prophecies, they happened. And that's why we know they were prophecies, because we saw what happened. Sergeant 18 made a prediction. My friend Sean David Morton made the same prediction, but in detail about 9/11. 1 year before it happened. He talked about everything that was going to happen, and he was 100% right. But did he stop anything? No. Changing history is the most serious thing that could happen. When a person thinks they have the right to do that. Messiah Harriman claims he has one of the two. The government has the other. He's claiming if he gets a couple $1,000,000, he can link his up to the one the government has and change the vibration of the planet. Does he have the right to do any of that? Of course not. People, when you hear people speak, listen to what they say. Drumville Melchizedek. He's on a Gaia. Everybody's on Gaia. Anybody that claims to be spiritual, I think they are. Greetings. How are you doing? But here's the thing, people. When these people claim something like that, prove it. And prove it's beneficial in any way. When Caroline Corver goes, I could levitate. She can levitate a piece of paper. Really? She can change DNA. I can. But so what? Do you have the right to? You have the right to change other people. Now, the problem is you don't. And here's something people need to hear over and over, which they'll never accept. The most important spiritual law of this reality, the physical and going into the astral plane, all right, is called the law of non-interference. No soul has the right to interfere in another soul's life. Not whatsoever, unless they're asked into it. It's like saying, I'll marry this person whether they want to marry me or not. You can't. But when you try to change a reality, I'm going to change the vibration of the planet. To what? Popcorn popping off everywhere and bubble gum falling out? And what can you change it to? What would you change it to? What do you think God would want to change it to? People, here's your delusional idea. Thinking you have a mission. Or we all got our own mission. No, you all don't have missions. There is only one mission. You either choose to accept it or not, people. That mission is not to become friends with aliens, not to be a spiritual teacher or a wise person or any of that. It's to become aware of who and what you are as soul that runs your body. And then the next thing you got to prove and learn and everything else is what it does when the body dies. Nothing else. Not about how many people you could love, have sex with, or go out and party with, go fishing, or any of those things, jump off a plane. All those things don't matter. How many houses you can buy, cars you can buy. That has nothing to do with your mission here. And your mission is only to find out who and what you are. And you don't need to go outside your body to find it. It's inside you. It's not outside you. And nobody else can tell you what that is. Psychics will say, oh, you were this in this lifetime, and you're this and that, and then blah, blah, blah. No, it's not about that. It's, are you listening to your guides? We all have guides, spiritual guides on the inner. Can you hear them? Do you ever talk to them? Do you believe that they're there? Obviously, if they're trying to talk to you and you don't hear them, obviously they can't help you. But did you ever try to do a meditation and work with your guides? They will guide you in your next step in soul forming. And it's a really important thing. I don't get into this much with Tina. She has a situation where she's been abducted most of her life. Should she believe in God? Should she believe in angels? Of course not. They didn't help her at all. But see, the other word, and 90% of the people on the planet don't want to deal with it, is called karma. Everything that happens to you is based on your karma. You could say, no, it's not. Well, this was an accident. No, it's not an accident. God didn't have an accident and create humans. He created us for a reason. A single reason. To take a step beyond the physical and grow and learn, which we don't do here on Earth. We learn about jobs, work, and food, and things like that. We don't learn about soul. Sure, you'll have somebody who will become your highest spiritual self. That doesn't mean anything. You aren't a higher spiritual anything. You're still the same old person that you are before you thought you were becoming somebody greater or more important. Importance has to do with ego, not to do with soul. Aliens have no clue, people. They have very limited feelings and emotions. Do they understand the human race? No. Do they want to? I guess at some level. Now, here's something that you're not going to hear other people tell you. They're reincarnating into humans now. Why do you think there's so many people? Well, I'm a walk-in, or I'm this or that. Because it's just like every other past life you had. You were something. You had something going on. Give me 1 second. Sorry again. Sorry, I should have left the camera on. I just had to go open the door. But people, this world is not that complicated. Oh, it's complicated here, but the truth beyond why you're here is not. Now, when Dante's Inferno was written, he talked about the levels of hell, what you experience at each level, depending how bad you are. You're on planet Earth, everything you experience is based on your karma. Oh man, now I got people talking. But it's up to you, people. Do you want to move forward, or are you happy staying where you are? All right, you have a choice. You always have a choice to move forward or stay there or go backwards. And thinking that Stephen Greer is going to help you in any way, create a workshop where you can talk to aliens. Hey, alien, what's going on today? Can you send me some gold bricks? I need some money. What do you think the alien's going to help you with? I'm going to raise your vibration to what? What's a higher vibration here? Name one person that's better than anybody else here on this planet. Name one person that's spiritual on this planet. Please, if you're watching this video and you think you know some person, text me, email me, Skype me, whatever. Hawksblood 11 on Skype. But better? Better in what way? What makes you better? If you had a psychic ability, I mean, people have different bits of psychic abilities. Nobody has 100% psychic ability of anything. And they're not used wisely. Telling people every soul out there is, they're missing them and they send them love and they protect them. You don't become an angel because you die. You're not a super being because you die either. You're who you are right now. Just that you don't have this body no more. Doesn't make you better. Then again, if you're not aware, you don't go too far when you leave this realm. Ghosts and spirits are stuck here because they didn't become aware of anything other than the violence that took them out. So when you talk to aliens, what are you going to ask them that could help you? Should I get married next week? Should I what? What should I do? People, it's not about that. And when you listen to these people over and over, this was a real story. This was a plane or a ship that got hit down or taken down. This guy did. Yes, so is it changing our reality? Tesla did when he created all this stuff and put it on paper. The U.S. and I know this for a fact. U.S. government took 50 of his inventions and created them. They were all copyrighted, so they were all real. So now I think 2 other countries also got involved with the HARP system and everything else. But that's the most. I would say it was the most deadliest weapon on our planet, and it still might be. But I don't know how you can compare that to CERN, CERN, and how bad that is compared to that. Now, CERN, when they put it on, the magnetic field is stronger than the Earth's magnetic field. It sounds impossible, but I'm telling you the truth. And if you don't think that interferes with the rotation of the planet and everything else, think again. Just take 2 magnets and play with them. You can see what's happening. Sure, the closeness of one to the other is different. The Hopi people believe that we're going to crash into the sun in time. And that was by Thomas Binyaka, the oldest Hopi elder who I was with for a while, who died. He died. What did they use? What did the Hopi people use? Tell me what do you mean? What they use? You're talking about what technology? Thomas Binyaka was one of the most spiritual people in the Hopi nation. All right. Basically, I was with him. I was in a hotel room with him for a while and got to talk to him. And I found out he died right after. But he has a prophecy, and the native prophecy is the same as the Tibetan prophecy, which says if they don't unite as a world race, as a white and red and yellow and black and all those different colors, it will be destroyed. Now, the Hopi people met with the Tibetan people. They came to Hopi land for lamas, and they compared their prophecies, and they were the same. Oh, CERN. They're using it all the time right now. They're trying to make black holes to go through and think they're going to go into another dimension and all that. It's horrible. Check it out. Look at how big it is and what they're doing. They said they created a black hole and crashed through it and all that. But if they really did they tell you what's really going to happen? Of course not. But they do have spacesuits. They think they're going to jump into this black hole and go out into another world and just step out and say, "Here I am." Or makes them think they can even get back or whatever. It's delusional. I use that word a lot because most people live in that realm. They can't face reality. So, but again, CERN is being used right now. Even the HARP system. They said they took it down, they closed it, they sold it. No, they didn't. They never did. And I could go into many things that are happening that are equal to that because of the Montauk Project, which is based after what happened, especially in Long Island, when they discovered, on Montauk, the Montauk Project, what they were doing there. And that's when you heard about the chair and the time traveling chair and all those kind of things. Realize when they created the time travel device that they put on the Eldridge was gigantic. I met an ex-FEMA person when I was lecturing in UFO World. He had a box on his belt. I thought of this. I didn't think I'd talk about it. But it blocked them from tracking him because he left FEMA. And they could track him, but he had this box that had to send out a signal so they couldn't track him. I mean, he was living in the mountain. He came in with this beautiful suit on and everything at the UFO convention. But, it's funny. He walks over to me. He hands me a card. Says, "Take this." And then I drop something. I don't want my guy to get it. Take it. And it said implant removal in a card. So I stuck it in my pocket. I don't want to go into the whole story, but basically they put energy into a card. It's got this little spiral disc on it, and they put all this energy into that. And I watched it. This person that was threatening me at a UFO conference said, "You're not going to do it." Famous Hopi elder, one of the people I talk about. Suddenly, all his people, he came with 6 people, and they left the hotel. They were supposed to lecture all week. But after he came up to me and said, "You're not going to talk about UFOs," and then within an hour, he was with all his people and he left the hotel and never came back. So I went on a vision quest with him. I could go into that story, but it's different. But what I'm trying to get at is people that have an ego think they can do a lot of things in this world, make it better. Better for who? The rich? The rich people are the only ones that are ever going to see this world get better. Because people, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, it was all based for the rich people, not you and me. Well, you might be rich, sorry. But rich people aren't in the same category as the poor people or middle class people are. They don't have to worry about paying their bills, paying their rent, or this, that, and the other thing. Unless they get into a divorce and then their wife or husband wants to take all their money. But in general, they're fine. They could live without working. They could get anything they want, anytime they want. A city underground where they live. Most rich people do have one already. Why? Why would you think they'd want to live underground? I'm not going to get into that. But the truth is out there, people. The subways that go, the trains, subway trains that are underground are incredible. They go all across the United States and even into other countries. Do you want to believe that? No, you don't have to. It doesn't matter because it's not for you. If it was for you, you would know. The government says we want those people to know that. We would tell them. They don't. Now, there was a special on TV years ago where Jesse went up to the Mount something that was a missile base that they converted into an underground city. And he said, well, what are you going to do? And the guy said, we're allowed 20,000 people in, and after that, the door closes. He says, well, then what are you going to do? He says, well, that depends how many people are coming. In other words, they're not going to let more people in. So what are you going to do when these people come knocking at the door? Guess what? We're talking about the future when we have a war. And it's going to be an alien war based on what's going to happen. But again, that's not important right now. I try to tell you the only thing that's important is finding out who and what you are. Where are you going to go when you die? What's really going to happen? Aliens aren't going to be there playing with you or helping you. Your guides, if you learn to communicate and work with them, will be. They'll help you get a little further down the road than you will without them. I dropped you off in a you can find your way around. Would you know what to do or anything? Well, it's nice to have a guide. If I drew you into a room, a city that had no light, what would you do? Would you be able to do anything? Look for a candle, look for a match, look for a light, and then what? You're going to grow your food, you're going to do anything? How are you going to live with that? See, we're not rational. We don't understand the truth. Well, getting back to Mr. Drumble and Melchizedek, when he said he's working with this race of beings inside the earth. Years ago, he said he was going to bring them out and introduce them to the people. Never did. Galactic Federation said many times they were going to come out and tell you and visit us and take us up and all that. Never happened. All the things we're told in the UFO world, I'm saying, are usually twisted truth because aliens don't want us to know the truth. And the good aliens do. What's the good truth? What would be a good truth coming from a good alien? That they're going to stop the reptilians or the greys, the mantis, or the tall whites from doing something to it? People think the tall whites are good people. I met 2 people recently that think the mantis are good beings. No, they're not. It's like if you meet your family for the first time, are you going to put on an ugly face or are you going to put on a happy face? Are you going to be friendly or are you going to be an enemy to them? So, the old saying, keep your friends closer, right? But you bring your enemies even closer than that. So, people, I hope you got something out of today. But you need to start looking for truth. And can it really help you? Is it going to really help you? Going to 20 conferences, what do you think is going to help you other than spend your money? Well, he said this ship's real. So, what if it is? Did it help you? If you want to see a UFO, text me. I'll send you mine how to see a UFO. But why? So you see a UFO. Go outside. Spend a couple hours every night for a week and you can see a UFO. I promise you. Don't stare at the star. Stare at the whole sky. Leave your eyes kind of open. Don't focus on a specific thing. And sometimes you'll see incredible things. Now, short bursts and things like that are not shooting stars. A shooting star starts from somewhere and burns out. But you'll see it coming. If it's going sideways, it had to start somewhere. All right. When you see a short burst, it's a ship going from some dimension into the other. And you'll see, and it's only about an inch in your finger width when you see it in the sky. You'll have to learn about a lot of little things that are happening. That, well, that was a what? Satellite? No. If it blinks and it turns, it's not a satellite. If it stops, it's not a satellite. And speeds are very critical, determined between a satellite and a UFO. Satellites are a slow-moving thing compared to a UFO. But they're constant straight line kind of a thing, where a UFO can do a lot of weird things. So there's a lot of little things you need to know if you want to know the difference between a UFO and a satellite. But realize this, satellites are now very little. I'm talking about the size of a matchbox. A milk box or something like that. And they don't have super spotlights all over them and things like that. Why would they? They don't need to see where they're going. If a ship's going to crash into them, it's going to crash into them. So, people, I don't do this show for my entertainment. I don't do it to make money. I've been trying to film the sky lately, but it's been cloudy every night. I've been filming a couple ships in the sky. I got them. I never put them up. I don't like to hear people saying, well, that's fake or this is that. I don't care. You want to say that, you're not going to see it. When people are ready, they might ask. When we were lecturing, Sergeant and me were lecturing between 96, we put pictures out there. Were people ready for any of it? I'm not talking about as Santa Claus, as Easter Bunny, but the actual ships that we took pictures of. And multiple different kinds, not just a round ship, a long ship, a tubular ship, all kinds of weird looking ships as well. But I was covered by a ship many years ago when I was about 30. It was a circular ship with the lights going around it. And it followed me for about maybe 15 minutes. I was out on Long Island with the medicine woman I study with, and I was coming back. For an hour, a ship stayed above me. 1 hour. Helicopter, drone, no. I was going across Long Island. So people, are you ready for the truth? Do you want it? Why? Think about, is it going to help you? At this stage of the game, you should be worried about what can help you move forward spiritually, not physically. The physical part is going to be what it is, and you can't take that with you. The spiritual part can be what you are. So I would suggest looking more to that. I'll probably do another show. Tuesday I do my UFO show with Tina, but any other day this week, hopefully it'll be a spiritual show. With that, please, thanks for coming into the chat room, joining me. Send this link to people you know. I had told you I have an open debate with any UFO person in the world of UFOs that think they know something and talk about it and believe it, like good aliens and all those kind of words. Nobody will take it up because, if you've got a career and you're making tons of money on a lie, you can't expose the lie and still think you're going to be making lots of money. All right. I have a hard time dealing with people that just say they think this and they think that. You know or you don't. You don't know. Shouldn't be talking about it. Thinking everybody thinks, but that doesn't make anything real. All right, people. You heard it here first. Tommy Hawksblood, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. I'll put a couple things in the chat room, okay?